Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting. I am Watty. Sadly, no Mark today. He has been struck down with bronchitis, sadly. He's been feeling like shit for a couple of weeks now and finally got checked out. And yeah, so not the best voice for recording, sadly. Hoping he's going to be fit. We've got the 3-on-3 lads on tomorrow night. Be good to chat to those boys. They obviously released their episode about Adam Johnson yesterday, sorry, as I record. I listened to it. Brilliant episode. Obviously, I know from doing it last week what tough circumstances it was, and how tough it is to do a podcast about it. I mean, it's very tough. I thought the dynamic flowed very well with the three of them. So great job, boys. On the Adam Johnson thing, obviously there's been the coroner's report that's come out. I kind of want to wait for Mark before we go into that. But I touched on in the video last week, over 6,000 you watched it, so shout out to you for that. I did mention the fact that, you know, they were doing bits and pieces. So the ice locker, the shop there, they got their announcement out. 4,000 jerseys have been purchased. 4,000 memorial jerseys have been purchased. I think I kind of want one as well. I might have to get one. I'd like one for here. I think it would go quite nicely. I'd like to mix it up with this new background. I hope everyone's liking the new background, by the way. I'd like to mix it up. So I think we'll be getting another order in on top of that. I know our producer Graham's got one. He got one of the pucks, thousands of pucks as well. I mean, it's absolutely outstanding. The GoFundMe is at 70,000. Now, I know Cardiff Devils have put money in, Solent, Oxford, other clubs, Bristol. I know there's more clubs to add to that. I saw Five Flyers Supporters Club put a good amount of money in there. So well done to all the teams. It's great that they're helping out. I sat and watched the Celebration of Life on Monday, and Omar Pasha and Kevin Moore came on and spoke. Brilliant job, boys. Absolutely brilliant job under very, very tough circumstances. Also, his fiance Ryan and her sister, they spoke. That was a very tough watch, but her sister especially spoke. Like, they've known each other since they were at grade school, competing against each other in talent shows, athletics competitions, whatever it is. And it was just nice. His cousin came on and spoke. He spoke at length about playing in their junior days and stuff like that, when going to like state and doing all these fun things that what you remember. So yeah, if you haven't already and you do wish to do so, please donate to Adam's fund. It is going to the Hibbing, the Love for Hibbing and Hockey Memorial. So obviously very passionate about where he came from, as are his family, and you could just see that from the amount of people that turned out in the rink for his memorial the other day. So let's get to some hockey. We'll stick with the Elite League news first while we're there. So the Sheffield Steelers are back in action this weekend. They are on the road against Manchester on Saturday, and then they're back at the Utilita Arena. They take on the Coventry Blaze on Sunday. Good to see the boys out skating. Obviously, Aaron Fox has came out and put a couple of announcements out. He spoke very well in the press as well. I think everybody's handled himself absolutely brilliantly, from the Steelers to the Panthers, everybody across the league, all the clubs, all the tributes last weekend were fantastic. I saw the coaches putting the wreaths at centre ice, the guys standing at centre ice. I do like that. I think that's a very, very nice tribute to him. There's some brilliant photos going around of all the teams doing that. And it's good that everybody's kind of bought in and is sharing the grief. I think it helps with the fans. It helps with the community as a whole. And dare I say it, fingers crossed, the trolls seem to have settled down a little bit now. It's probably yesterday's chip paper for them now. But hopefully that's the end of the trolling. We had plenty of it on here, still blocking the occasional comment, but it's nothing like it was in the immediate aftermath. Let's talk about the Panthers, because the Steelers are back, but the Panthers, they've postponed. They were supposed to be away in Dundee and Fife, a double header up in Scotland. They've postponed. I think that's the right decision. I think when those guys come back, it should be at home. It should be in front of their fans. Their families can be there, all these type of things that are going to make the night just a little bit easier. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but just to make it that fractional percentage better, having your nearest and dearest around, being able to sleep in your own bed, just everything that's just going to help make it just that tiny bit easier. It's going to be a very tough day. I'm sure it's going to be a very tough day for everybody going back in on to Sheffield on Sunday. So we're thinking of you guys still, and as always, DMs are always open. We've spoke to a good few of you over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, since we put the episode out, so many messages and comments. So thank you very much for that. Hopefully, we got back to most of you. There was definitely a lot, which is nice. Speaking of nice, our boy Ironsy, Onesie, whatever you want to call him, James Irons. He changed his referee official number from 47. I don't know what he changed it to, but the Elite League did come out and say that, you know, he requested to change. I think that's very cool. Also one of Adam's teammates from Fife, he wore the Adam Johnson 47, and he will do with the Flyers for the warm up for the rest of the year, which I think that's a really good touch. He obviously scored on the night as well, which, you know, it's going to happen. Love those ice hockey stories like that. What else have we got? Ryan Hughes, he also changed his jersey number. The Guildford Flames player, I think he's changed from 47 to 91. So it's kind of a bit of a trend there that anybody that was in that number has kind of given it up. I saw a couple of the Sioux Fall players changed their number from Adams Jr. number. They let the number go, so to speak, and changed it. So across a few of his teams, we've seen things like that happen as a mark of respect, and I like that. I think it's pretty classy, and I also like it the other way, where, you know, his buddy wants to wear 47 and warm up because that's his way of doing it, and everybody's going to have a different way of dealing with this, and whether it be grief, whether it be honoring, whatever it may be, everyone's going to have that different way of looking at it, and I believe it's going to help. And if that helps you and it makes you perform that little bit harder, knowing that you're wearing your buddy's number, that's awesome. I like that. Speaking of awesome, the Clan's Hercules jerseys for Remembrance Day are legit. Quick shout out to Hercules. I love them. I think they're great. Myself and Mark have talked about this. You know, there's far too many shirts, you know, where we Halloween jersey, then a remembrance one, and then it's this, and then it's that. And before you know it, there's 15 jerseys throughout the year, and it gets spenny for the fans. But Remembrance Day, they should always be there. I like the ones where we support the troops and the fallen troops, and the designs are getting better each year. And Hercules, they've smashed it out of the park this year. Oliver Cooper, Belfast Giants. He has been ruled out for the foreseeable future. A bit of a vague press release, but he is out and he won't be in the lineup. So that's a bit of a blow to the Giants. They lost. We'll get into some of their results later on, but they lost a couple of games, which last time they did that, they sacked fucking 9 guys, changed the whole roster, and went on and won the treble. So we will see what the reaction from the Belfast Giants is this year. I'm sure there'll be no panic stations. They've still got a very good ice hockey team, and there's a lot of hockey left to play. I'm having a look through their results from the weekend. So I had an accumulator on, a little 4-leg accumulator. I had all 4 home teams to win on Saturday. When you look at the games, you've got Cardiff taking on Manchester, Coventry taking on Dundee, Belfast taking on Guildford, and Fife at home to the Clan. All 4 away teams won. Like, I wasn't even kind of close. Not even kind of close. Manchester, they turned the Devils over 3-1. Pete Russell did say afterwards that it had a very weird feel to the night. It was the first game back after the tragic incident. And maybe the building's just a little bit flat. And I imagine this week's going to be a little bit different. Everyone's had a couple of games. Energy might be a little bit different in buildings, but I think a lot of it last week was just getting back in the rink. And that goes for fans, goes for players, goes for officials, literally anybody that's involved. So I think the hockey's probably going to be better this weekend than it was last weekend. And I'm looking forward to it because I am going to be at games, which I'll let you know about very shortly. Yeah, Coventry Blaze, they lost 5-3 to Dundee. Belfast Giants lost 4-3 to Guildford. That's a big win for Guildford, especially with the form they've been in. Not great. Big win on the road to turn over Belfast anytime in Belfast is always a good result. And then we had the Glasgow Clan 3-2 in OT against a very much improved Five Flyers team. Going into the Sunday, Dundee Stars, they couldn't get the 4-point weekend. They turned the Coventry Blaze over in Coventry, but Coventry came back. They picked up the win in the return leg, 5-2 to them. Manchester Storm, again, they had an opportunity to pick up a 4-point weekend after winning on the road on the Saturday. Not to be. They go home Sunday. Belfast Giants, they pick up a 5-1 victory. Good win for Belfast on the road. Glasgow Clan, now, again, another team that are going to be disappointed. They win the Saturday, they go home, and they stink the place out. They lose 7-0 at home. Very, very, very tough night at the office. And from looking at the stats, I don't actually think the Cardiff top line even got a goal. So they got some scoring shared about from their roster, considering they couldn't hit a ball in the arse with a banjo the night before, only getting 1 goal against the Storm. Just Storm look okay this year. Their goalie's good. He's right up there in the stats. Manchester's Altringham's a tough place to go to take on Manchester. Altringham's not a fun place to play. And then finally, Guildford Flames, they complete the only 4-point weekend of the Elite League this weekend. Just gone. They turn over the Five Flyers 5-2. Great result for them. Great to see them get a 4-point weekend. I'm sure Paul Dixon's very, very happy. He won't be counting his chickens or anything, but he will be telling the boys, look, here, we have an opportunity to turn a corner, and we've got to build on that. And it's going to be very important this weekend's fixtures that they continue to build. Another 3-4 points this weekend, and all of a sudden you're back in that hunt and you're back in the mix. Obviously, Nottingham not playing. It's going to be a little bit mixed up for a few weeks. The Steelers obviously a couple of games behind as well. Now the table will sort itself out. Nottingham, they'll fit their games in when they can. It is really not important right now. But when they've got to then add 3 and 4 game weeks, it's going to be tough for the Panthers. Much improved roster from last year, so it'll be interesting to see how they go about it. Maybe they bring a couple of extra bodies in to deal with it, and you know they add a little bit more depth, because anyone that's done it will tell you 3, 4, 5 games in a week or in a 9-day. You know, if you're playing Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, it hammers you a little bit. You know, 6 games in 9 nights, it takes it out of the body. And if you haven't got enough guys, you've not got enough depth, it will be a struggle. So I'd be interested to see, because the way Nottingham handled this whole entire situation has been brilliant. So I'm intrigued to see how they're going to handle like the kind of backup, because it is going to be tough, and it's through no fault of their own, obviously. I think the Panthers are in good hands with Pasha. I think Omar's very good, and he's getting a bit more comfortable there now. You can sort of see, and I think they want to be thereabouts in that mix, in that running. Can they do it? I don't know. I mean, Belfast are going to have a lot to say about it. Cardiff are going to have a lot to say about it. Sheffield, the Steelers have got a very good team this year. They look strong. The Elite League's looking exciting this year. And I mean, you can't pick a winner right now. It's way too early on, but promising signs for the Elite League. Let's go though to the NIHL news and kind of everything else. NIHL, GB women, whoever. But we'll kick off with Lucas Price. He got a 6-game ban for a hit to the head. I don't even know. He had a battle in a face-off with Milton Keynes import. Name escapes me right now. It's completely gone. Hands come up, gets him in the chops. Face-off battle happens all the time. Maybe 2 minutes for roughing, maybe 2 minutes for cross-checking. If you're in a really pissy move, maybe a 5+ game for cross-checking. If you call that a 5 game, though, it's very, very, like, you're being very strong about it. So I would say a 2-minute minor, get on with the game. It then goes to be a 6-game suspension. Now, the video has gone out there. We shared the video. All the comments on our video were, are you taking the piss? Where's the ban? Where's this? Where? Like, Department of Player Safety, obviously, I don't want to beat up on them too much tonight. We're going to talk about it with Shane Moore next Tuesday, live 8:30 right here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you set a little reminder. We will be doing it. So let's go to the 6 games. I don't know where the tier system has to go, because you're looking at it and they're going, right, if it's this, I have to start here. It's so tough to do that. Every single situation is going to be different. Every hit to the head is going to be different. Every knee is going to be different. Did something happen earlier in the game? Is this retribution? All these things have to come into consideration. Or is it 2 guys taking a face off that haven't even played a single shift against each other all day, and the sticks just come up? Accident, accidentally on purpose sort of thing as well. That could happen. The videos have to be analysed. They have to be watched. We saw from the Oxford one that quite clearly they weren't. We're going to be speaking to Shane about that. He has got a lot of goodies for you folks. You really are not going to want to miss that. They've obviously had their appeal. Darcy's suspension got reduced from 10 to 6. So he played last weekend, first game back, got a goal. Good for him. Shout out to him. Good to be back on the ice, I imagine, seeing as you've flown from the other side of the planet. Imagine that. You come all the way from Australia and then you're just working in a hotel, sussy, doing nothing. Got to be frustrating. Do you like my ballerina cup? Oh, it's actually a Cinderella cup. Hey, who knew? But yeah, so they're doing that. They get back. Mike Maidens. We put a post out last week saying going to be doing a bit of an expose on the Department of Player Safety. If I was Mike Maidens, I would resign. Mike Maidens resigned today. I do not fucking blame him one little bit. Honestly, I don't blame him. And the reason I said to Mike he should resign is because, in fairness to him, and I'm going to reach out to Mike and give him an opportunity to kind of talk about it. I'm sure the EIHL probably made him sign an NDA, but it is what it is. The decisions that were getting made kind of above his head, but he's the GM on it, so he has to kind of put it out there. It was bizarre. The whole thing's bizarre. I don't want to beat up on the guy, because when we put the original DOPS episode out, he messaged in. We had a little chat. He owned a couple of things. You know me. If anyone owns stuff that owns their fuck ups or whatever, and he also explained a couple of things that I didn't know, which I appreciate him taking the time to do that and to take constructive criticism and to do stuff with it. I always appreciate when people do that. It's something you have to learn to do as a hockey player, and I feel maybe some people in the general public don't have to deal with that, so it's maybe a little bit different. Probably different now. It's probably a lot softer now. But when someone needs something done from you, or you have an opinion that's strong and it's sensible and it's based on facts and can help, it's good that people take that on board. Now, I've saw a few of you have said, get your CV in to the Department of Player Safety. Nope, absolutely not. Couldn't think of anything worse. I would do it if the right people were involved, though. I wouldn't do it under this setup. Not a chance. You'll see why on Tuesday. I keep talking about it, and I'm getting closer and closer to letting stuff slip. But we'll see Tuesday. I'll talk more about it then. But yeah, stop wasting your message. Save your fingers, because I won't be sending my CV anywhere for that. Let's keep going with the NIHL news. We had the Streatham Redhawks taking on Chelmsford Chieftains over at the Riverside last weekend. Victory for Streatham, but the main talking point was Bartlett sucker punching JJ Pitchley. Now there seems to be a skirmish in front, goes into the corner. The video's out there. Jamie McElroy shared it. I believe we might even share it. I can't remember, but it's definitely online. How's the best way to describe it? Pitchley ends up facing this way, and Bartlett ends up behind him. Now, the linesman Davis has Bartlett tied up. Pitchley's head's facing the other way. Now, Bartlett manages to squeeze his arm under Davis's arm, reach around, and catch him with an uppercut with no glove on. It is a blatant cheap shot, sucker punch, whatever you want to call it. I was really intrigued to see how Department of Player Safety are going to call this one, because out of all of the stuff that's happened this year, this is probably the cheapest. It's definitely intentional, because you can't accidentally drop your glove and uppercut somebody. Some of the other ones that we've had, hits to the head, they've been accidental, they've been bad timed. Hits from behind again, guy stops up, you go through the numbers, you don't necessarily intend to hit him there or injure him there. Whereas this one is designed to, hit him on the chin. Now, from an old school perspective, I get you trying to get something going, but also from the old school perspective, just wait until the next face-off. Line up next to him, and if you have to, you can no choice him. You can no choice him. If I'm guessing something's happened in the game or in a prior game, JJ plays the way he plays, the Bartletts play the way they play. They all play with an edge. They've all got skill, but they play that chippy game. They're probably chirping the fuck out of each other all night. I get it. But equally, just line up off the draw, square up, helmets off, gloves off, look after yourselves, make sure you can do your job. And that's it. That's all that needs to be done. No one gets suspended, and no one gets a shit reputation. You get a bit of a shit reputation if you start sucker punching people. Obviously, I imagine he got kicked out of that game, but when they play later on in the season, Brando's going to want to have a word with him. I'm sure Ryan's going to want to have a word with him. He's going to basically just gave himself a long couple of nights where he could have just had a square go and it would have been all over. Suspension-wise, I don't have it to my hand, so I don't know what tier this would be, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him sit 4 to 6. And I mean, I don't even know if that fits in with the tier system, but this is also why the tier system's got to go. I mean, if people are sitting around judging it, you're going to give him, you're going to probably give him 4 to 6 games. And I think in that sort of range, most people would be fairly happy. I think Chelmsford would think, okay, we've probably got away with one here. And Stratton probably think, him off the ice for 6 games, that's going to hurt their roster. And then, so it's probably fair all around. 10 games, too much for me. I get what he was trying to do, but he just did it the wrong way. Definitely a sucker punch. The Link Centre update. So, some good news. It looks like the gym's reopened, soft play's reopened. So things are happening. Hopefully the ice rink will be reopened quicker than what they said it would. Feeling for these guys, everything been on the road, and it's a tough old grind. They're going to love coming out at that Link Centre for their first home game back. I'm sure the place is going to be popping. It'll be sold out. Stephen Lewis will have that place absolutely rammed when they're ready to go back. Oh, I missed that when I was talking about Chelmsford. Leigh Jamison just didn't even announce that he had signed back, but evidently he had, because he was on the ice at the weekend and apparently still looking pretty damn good. That does not surprise me. Interesting roster they have there. Obviously, they got Howden and Leigh from MK. They take Kinger and Lorde from Basingstoke. They've added National League players to that team. They obviously got the Bartlett boys and other lads that have come up through that system there. So Chelmsford, they'll be there or thereabouts towards the end of the year. I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I mean, they need to stop getting players suspended, that's for sure. Rayner, I saw his hit. We haven't done a roundup. I saw his hit. It was probably a 6-game hit. They were not far away with that one. I think it's probably more bad timing than really malicious intent to injure. And what was the other hit? There was one more. Oh, Christian Moore's hit. That was never 6 games for me. The lad that he 4 checks, kid turns. Christian kind of loses an edge going in, and the lad that he hit. I said when I first watched it, if he ran into the back of me the way he ran into the back of this kid, I wouldn't have even fell over. You probably don't even call a penalty because you wouldn't even. It wasn't like he just went boom straight through his numbers. It was bad timing. It was a combination of things. But again, if you were to watch the video and you know what you're looking at, and you've got a solid communication with the officials, and whoever else is on the panel that you're talking to discuss it, Department of Player Safety can make better decisions. So we keep coming back to them today. I don't know, not intentionally. I'm kind of trying to wait for Morsey. He's the guy with the info. What else have we got? Oh, our boy Gary Kelly, obviously been interviewed both before my weekend up there and during road tripping. He has torn his tibial tendon. Now, a knee injury at his age is tough. Going to be out for around 12 weeks. So thinking of Gary, hopefully he is back on the ice, before the business end of the season. He starts to build his fitness up and he's there for Aberdeen and Whitley's running and into the playoffs. And it's going to be a shit time for him, because being out for that long when you're 17, God, it's boring. Speaking of 17, we've got a few 16 and 17-year-old girls. They're going out to play in the Friendship 4 for Team Great Britain. I do have their fixtures somewhere. I don't know where. Here we go. So they're in Jaca, Spain. First game, they play Poland. That is this Friday, the 10th. They take on Poland, 11:30 a.m. UK time. They then, on the Saturday, take on Spain. That's at 5 p.m. UK time. And finally, the Sunday, they take on Iceland. That is 9 a.m. UK time. All games can be watched online. So if that's your thing, you want to go support the girls, you support the national team, please do go and support the GB18s girls. The fixtures have also been announced for the GB20s men, which up in Dumfries on the 11th of December, sorry. We have Great Britain taking on the Netherlands. All GB games other than the last game are at 8 p.m. So they take on the Netherlands first. Then they take on Lithuania on the 12th. Rest day on the 13th before getting back out on the 14th. They take on China. They then have a second game. No, we don't have a second game. Second rest day I was looking at. Got it the wrong way around. They've got Spain at 8 p.m. on the 15th. Then they have their second rest day. And on the final day, they take on Korea. And that is a 4:30 face-off. I imagine that's what EIHL are thinking is going to be for all the marbles. Now, I'm hoping that is the case. I really, really do hope GB get to compete for that gold medal. Obviously, I had Ollie Endicott. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. Had him on, and they're confident and they really want that gold, especially those top age boys that, I think they said he's had silver and 2 bronze. He wants that gold. Having had a gold medal at that World Championships, I can't tell you, it is one of the proudest moments in your life, and winning a gold medal for Great Britain. So good luck, boys. Good luck, girls. Go get the results. Let's show the world that we are improving. We are an improving hockey nation. We've got good talent. And hey, a few of you might put yourself in a shop window for a new job, so that never hurts. What else have we got? Oh, Culum Ruddick, poor boy. So, Witness Wild sacks him by text, which is pretty Bush League. But what I do love is Culum, with his sense of humor, didn't let it get him down. He where are we? Let's have a look. I screenshotted it earlier. It's very good. Can't find any of my stuff today. Sorry, guys. I've lost everything. Here we go. Yeah, so initially it came out on the NIHL North Facebook group. They were talking about it, and Culum said, I thought I was getting a reminder it was Domino's 2 for Tuesdays, but sadly, no, I was getting sacked by text. I thought that was quite funny. And Domino's or not, he didn't even get one. That sucks. But Witness, they held their hands up. I love the response from Witness because they put their hands up, they admit their fuck up. So Joey Coulter, he basically said, I can only apologize for the recent approach I made in regards to dismissal of Jack and Culum. Oh yeah, I forgot Jack got sacked as well. Sorry. But my intentions were pure, just lack professionalism. Have a lot of time for both players. I wanted them to have everything in writing. Nothing gets lost in translation with a sensitive subject, and hopefully they can take feedback on board if they were to join a new squad. He goes on to say a couple of other things, but the co-owner, Danny Davis says, whilst we're disappointed in the way this situation has been handled, we fully support Joey in his role as head coach. We have already reached out to both players personally, and we wish them the best of luck going forwards. They fucked up. They held their hands up. That's it. Move on. When we speak about, owning your mistakes, people are a lot more likely to just be like, okay, you made a mistake. So I think Callum's helped because obviously he's handled it with humor. And that breaks it down. If he had put a post out that was maybe a bit deeper and a bit more pissed off and upset, then this could have went a different way. So I think it's fizzled out already, and it was online for maybe 3 hours. I think they've jumped ahead of it. They've done a good job. Should they have sacked him by text? No, they shouldn't. Have a bit more class. Young coach makes a decision, makes a bad decision, owns it. He learns from it. Let's go. Nothing else to see here in my opinion. What else have we got? We've had all of that. That's pretty much it. Let's tell you about next week's episode of Road Tripping. So we are going to be releasing this week's first. So Cologne, the final edits are pretty much done. That should go live Thursday evening. And then next week, we will be showing Road Tripping. This week, we've got Cardiff Devils on Friday. They're taking on Manchester Storm. We'll be at that game. And then on Saturday, the Swindon Wildcats taking on Solway Sharks. We'll be at that game as well. So you had the video for that at some stage early next week. Hopefully some interviews and other bits and pieces from my trip down there. And then next week, we have losing count, but we're going back to Europe. And this time we are heading to Vienna, going to meet Mark. We're going to take a train to Bratislava. We're going to watch Bratislava against Nitra in the Slovak top league. Great hockey. Loved it last time. Nice little chill day in Vienna on the Thursday. Some sightseeing, some bits and pieces for the YouTube vlog. And then on Friday, we're going to Brno. And we're going to watch them take on Jaromir Jagr's Kladno. And word on the street is he might be lacing up. Now, I've watched a lot of NHL games. I have never got to see Jaromir Jagr live. It is a dream. I know it's Mark's biggest hockey dream. We are very close to it. I guess we will be finding out this time a week tomorrow whether he's going to be in the lineup for the Friday. I'm excited. I'm excited anyway. It's going to be a great trip. We'll be bringing you that the following week. We then have 3 days in Berlin and 2 games, a couple of Berlin games in the DL. I watched the DL last weekend, obviously in Cologne. Loved it. Can't wait to watch some more. So it's all happening. Make sure you're checking out our road tripping episodes. If you want to sponsor the podcast, we do have sponsorship opportunities available. We're going to put the link in the description where you can get some information about how to do that. Obviously, we're no longer with Hurricane, so we are looking for a new title sponsor, and we are looking for road trip sponsors. The channel is growing all the time, folks. We can give the analytics to any sponsors that want to look at it, but all our channels have all grown massively in the last year, which has been growing, but not even in a year, since April. It's been fantastic, and we want to continue that. It's just the start of this journey. Obviously, we've done a podcast for 4 years, a little bit different now, going out into Europe. We've got lots of plans in the pipeline. Obviously, busy year. Next year, we've got at least 2 charity games. Obviously, we're donating the money to put junior tournaments on. That's going to take up a lot of time. That's going to bring some new content to the channel as well. So 4,000 count, try to branch out, try to help out, try to do a bit of everything. We need your help, even if you don't know anyone that wants to sponsor us, but you do want to buy us a cup of coffee. I am a caffeine addict. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee, the link's in the bio as well. You can go there. I think it's $5 for a coffee. If you enjoy the podcast, it does help us out, especially at this time where we do not have anybody sponsoring us. There is a lot of stuff to pay for. But yeah, let's move on. Let's recap the national, because we did the Elite League results. We'll recap the national and then we'll wrap it up here today. So we got the Sheffield Steel Dogs, massive home win, 6-5. I sat and watched the game on the stream. My boy Jamie Mack on comms. Interesting game, kind of tit for tat. Romford probably feel like they should have won it, but they let it slip. And then the Steel Dogs, Biz was class, absolute class. Took a good goal, lovely assists, a couple of lovely assists. In fact, just the way he plays the game is very good. And I know Mac harps on about him all the time, but I think people do sleep on him a lot. Steel Dogs on the Sunday, they got turned over by the Raiders 5-3. So a very, very tight weekend for those two teams. Raiders will probably be very happy with 3 points, taking a point up there, 2 at home. Good weekend for them. They're probably lower down the league than they thought they were going to be at this stage of the season. The third from bottom, but long season, a lot of hockey left. Zach Milton, he looked good on the weekend. It was good to see him play. I haven't seen him since last year. First time seeing the Raiders this season. And then we had the double header, the Sharks hosting Swindon Wildcats. Swindon Wildcats, huge weekend for them on the road up in Dumfries. 8-4 win on the Saturday, followed by a 7-5 victory on the Sunday. And those Solway Sharks cannot get off that bottom right now. They're struggling for points, struggling for, well, obviously if you're struggling for points, you're going to be struggling for wins, but they really need to, you know, even if it is you lose, but it's 6-5 in OT and you get that 1 point, you got to be making sure you're chipping in points all throughout the year. I thought they personally were going to sign Jordan Buessa. Since we did our last roundup a couple of weeks back, he's signed in Leeds. Fantastic signing for them. I thought he would go to Solway, but nope, he's ended up in Leeds, and Leeds have picked up a brilliant hockey player. I think he scored in his debut, which no surprise to anybody that watches him. Let's fast forward. We've got the MK Lightning. They beat the Bees 7-4 at home on Saturday, but they got turned over by the mighty Hull Seahawks 4-3 on Sunday. Great weekend. If you're a Seahawks fan, a victory down in Bristol, 6-4 on a Saturday, come back up at home, win 4-3 against MK, 4-point weekend. How are you? They're my dark horses, you know. I do not see Hull finishing outside the top 3. And with the right run of results and injury luck and everything that goes with a title running, they could push Leeds very, very close, I think. Leeds themselves, brilliant weekend again for Leeds. They win on the road on Sunday in Telford, and they win on the road in Peterborough on Saturday. 2 road victories. I mean, tight games, and it sounds like they were made to work for it, but 3-2 against the Phantoms, 4-3 against the Tigers, and Leeds are just starting to show how good they are. Winning games on the road, winning games on the road, winning games. Just keep doing it. By the time you get to Christmas, all these ones where I talked about Solway needing a point. You know, Phantoms get a point at home. That loss doesn't sting as much, but you know, they managed to get it done in regulation, no point. Same thing with the Tigers. They don't manage to get them to OT, so they don't get that point. You keep them, you run them close, but ultimately they just pull another 2 points clear and another 2 points clear, and that's what's going to keep them at the top of the league. They're just so talented, so deep. Who else have we got? I think that's I know. So Phantoms, obviously, that was their Saturday. They lost to the Bees on Sunday 4-3, and the way the Bees are playing, they're doing well, mate. They are doing really well, and that's probably shocked a few people. If you look at Balaz and Gabaj, I think they have like 66, 68 points between them already. They're on an absolute heater. It's just giving me Pinky and Sesky vibes, man. It's really giving me Pinky and Sesky vibes. Bratton will have a proper legitimate 1-2 punch again, and you're gonna see them be in the playoffs this year. Didn't think I'd say that at the start of the year. I'll hold my hands up. They do probably need to improve a little bit in terms of depth. I don't know if the budget's there for that to go much further. I think they'll be competitive all the time, and I know they got a couple of injuries here and there. I know Josh Kelly's out. Hopefully he'll be back soon. There's other guys that are probably having to step up and play more minutes, which is great. But you need National League depth. You look at a MK, you look at Swindon Wildcats, you look at Leeds Knights. The depth is ridiculous on those rosters. I think that's all the games from the National. That is road tripping. That's GB news. That's all the roundup, basically. I'm hoping Mark's going to be back because, well, this isn't as much fun to do on my own. I like having someone to talk to, but we're going to have plenty of boys and girls to talk to. We have 3-on-3 podcast lads. They're on tomorrow night. We have Lewis Clifford on Monday night. We have Shane Moore on Tuesday night. Victoria Stewart one day next week. I don't know. But yeah, so we've got all sorts of different bits and pieces. Oh, 2Ls and Hockey Tales, Worley. This is all coming up, folks. So make sure you tune in. If you're watching this today, come back later and you will be able to see Road Tripping episode 4 in Cologne. We will see you for another episode of the Roundup next week. Peace.